Hello, Wisp and I are out and about today, just heading out to do a little foraging, passing by a number of interesting subjects today. Right over here, we have some over-mature wild carrot. Right over here, some goldenrod. There's some first-year wild carrot right down there. Right here, we have a little chaga growing on a birch tree. More goldenrod. The birch itself is an edible tree with about 1,000 different uses. We'll get into that sometime. Everything from tea to medicines to making canoes and bowls. The wildwood, when you come to understand it, is your friend. If you live well with it, it will live well with you. And it will provide everything that you need. Firewood, medicine, food, shelter, everything we need can be found in the forest. All we have to do is know how to live well with it. And here's the objective of today's hiking, a fairly large tree of black cherries. In fact, it's a small cluster of black cherry trees. Look at the size of these clusters. Every little cluster is just huge. Lots and lots of cherries on them. I'll fill a bag very quickly with these very large cherries. And the way I'm going to harvest them, to avoid crushing the individual cherries, I'm just going to break the entire cluster off the tree, just as if I were harvesting wild grapes off a grapevine. And I'll drop these into my bag. And back at the cottage, we'll strip the cherries off the green parts, and then we'll pulp the cherries, extract the juice, and Daphne will turn the juice into syrups and jams, and then take the pulp and turn that into fruit leather. And let me tell you, I love black cherry fruit leather while out hiking. In fact, it's a snack that we enjoy all year because we pick bags and bags of this. Black cherries, chokecherries, pin cherries, all the wild cherries, which I talked about in my last wild food foraging video. All the wild cherries are very abundant here in East Canada and can be found readily throughout much of North America. When harvesting wild cherries, you can strip them right off the bunch like so. However, that method, while quick and convenient, is likely to end up with many of the cherries being bruised, partially squashed, squeezing the juice out of them, and basically making a mess out of them while they travel in the bag back to your home, where you then need to process them. I find it's better simply to pinch off the entire bunch of cherries, like so, and that way the break is nice and neat, and they travel well back to wherever you're going to process them. I like harvesting young wild cherry trees because the wood is very pliant. You can bend it without much real danger of damaging the tree. Let it go, and it pops right back up and resumes its normal shape. Thus, the wild cherry is a tree which lends itself to being harvested. As I said in a previous video, it's a very friendly tree. It's a ready food source, and it's a tree that provides abundantly. I've only been harvesting from this tree now for about 30 minutes, and I already have a good half bag of cherries. And these are black cherries, the best kind. Right over here, we have red cherries. I don't even know if I'll bother with these. I might yet fill up that bag before I finish. I've been harvesting from that black cherry tree for about, like I said, 30 minutes, and I don't think I have harvested even a quarter of the cherries off of it yet. But if I do manage to exhaust those 2 or 3 young trees there, I have this little group of, well, these look like they are chokecherries. I have this little group of chokecherries. And right up there, we have a red-tailed hawk coming to see what's going on. If you follow a shamanic path as I do, and you happen to drop some of the cherries while harvesting, just leave them there. Leave them as a courtesy to the small animals that will benefit from them, and the earth itself. And even if you don't follow such a path, just leave them. Nature will thank you for it. Various birds and other animals will get into the cherries, they'll eat them, they'll carry off the seeds and spread them, and more cherry trees will grow. And without any efforts on your own part, the forest will become filled with wild cherry trees. We see in this a beautiful example of symmetry. We live well with nature, and nature gives back in return. Well, it's been a good day. I figure I've picked about 20 pounds of wild cherries in about 2 hours. That's pretty good for picking wild cherries. They don't go quite as fast as something like elderberries. In an hour or two you can fill several bags with elderberries because they come in huge cymes. Been a good day overall, beautiful day. And after dinner, I'm starving now, and after dinner, I don't know what Daphne has in mind, but I think I might hike out over to the Old Wood, which is the old growth woods far out on the west side of our land, Corby's Hollow, and see if the big hazelnuts are coming ready. Let's go home, boy.